source for everything paranormal. ParaX.
It's giving me the chills. Either that or a spirit that's here. The Azrael.
Throughout the ages, history has been altered by word of mouth and the misrepresentation of those who might not have been present when some of the world's most significant events took place. Channelers Barry and Connie Strohm bring through the spirits of those who actually witnessed or took part in these historical events and lets them tell their stories in their own words. Welcome to Channeling History. And now, here are your hosts, Barry and Connie Strohm.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Channeling History. We are the only show where we speak to the souls, or tonight, the angel that makes things happen. And we're brought to you on the ParaX Radio Network. I'm Barry Strohm, your host, and I'll be doing the channeling tonight. We always try to give a small disclaimer when we begin the show, because we don't want anybody mad at us, as we have no idea how the spirit guests will answer questions or give opinions. So the opinions or statements voiced on our show are the channeled words of the spirits, angels, and do not reflect our opinions, those of the ParaX Network or our sponsors.
And I am Connie Strohm, your co-host, and I would like to thank you for tuning into our show tonight. Tonight we'll be stretching your imagination by channeling an archangel. Tonight I will be asking questions of our archangel guest, Azrael. As you probably know, Azrael is known as the angel of death in that he helps the soul to pass from the incarnate life. As you are about to learn, he plays many other roles. He is definitely not the Grim Reaper that brings death, but assists in the passing of the soul. If you've been following our show, you know that our list of guests is a little different from other shows. As Barry said, all of our guests are departed souls, or in this case tonight, archangels. If you listened to our first show, you know that we also have interviewed a spirit guide. You will not hear our guests appearing for any other interviews on any other show. We welcome any questions that you submit through the chat room. In fact, that makes us very happy because we like to know that we're pleasing you and answering your questions. We do have a list of prepared questions, but prefer to use those of you that you put through. When Barry channels, he's speaking the words of the spirits, or tonight, an archangel, and has no idea what the next words will be. Occasionally, he will get an answer incorrect, especially when it comes to dates. In ancient times, there were no calendars available to most individuals, or they used a different type of calendar than is used today. He also remembers very little of what he channels.
In the future, we're going to be doing some very, very special shows. On December 20th, as we get closer to Christmas, Mother Mary is going to join us and tell us the truth about the birth of Jesus. When Mary explains the details of the birth of her son, you'll realize that the story becomes totally believable. I dedicated a chapter in my book, Channeling the Life of Jesus, to his birth. And I think when she is on the show, you're going to find it a very, very wonderful experience. One aspect of his birth that you'll find very interesting is the visit of the wise men. I know we're all used to seeing three wise men run up to the crib that's holding the baby Jesus, but in reality you're going to find out that there are around 50 of them, because they traveled with their security. It was very dangerous times, and they also had to stop and see King Herod first. So actually it's not until Jesus is around 3 months old that the wise men show up. We plan to do a show about John Wilkes Booth and the Lincoln assassination in the future. You'll find out that there was a much deeper conspiracy than what we're told about in the history books, because John Wilkes Booth does not die in Virginia. On future shows, we'd also like to interview spirits as recommended by our listeners. So if you would please submit suggestions for future shows or questions for our spirit guests, our email is channelinghistoryontparax@gmail.com. And that's channelinghistoryontparax@gmail.com. And yes, I do even check those emails to know who's sending to me. Tonight, we thought we would try to do something very, very different. We have a unique opportunity to speak with an archangel, and that means that those of you in the chat room have the opportunity to ask questions of an archangel, which I'm sure that you may have tried to speak to them before, but this will be the first time that you'll actually hear them be able to answer. Last week we had a very, very interesting interview with the famous outlaw of the Old West, Billy the Kid. He told us of his life, how he escaped Pat Garrett and actually lived to be around 90 years old and did not die until 1950. If any of you listened to the interview, you're going to find that something very different was taking place, and that I was actually speaking his words in the vernacular that he would have used in life. There were several times that I thought he was actually going to cuss on the air, but he caught himself and realized it. You can go back and listen to it on my YouTube channel. It's in my name, Barry Strohm, or you can go to podomatic.com and just search Channeling History. So, when we begin channeling tonight, I will ask the questions, or Connie will ask the questions, and I will give the answers.
Tonight's going to be very interesting, as it is the first time we've channeled an archangel live on the radio. In the future, we plan to bring more archangels. We plan to speak with Gabriel, Michael, Metatron, as well as others. If there's any that you would like to hear from, let us know.
And if you've listened to our show, you'll know that before we channel, we always start with a prayer of protection. We all know that there's evil out there, and we want to make sure that we're protected when we open a channel to the other side. So Connie will now say the prayer, and then we will begin to channel with Archangel Azrael.
God, please grant us your wisdom and protection. Grant us the knowledge that we can handle and keep us safe from all things that will harm us. Keep the messages positive and pure love. Keep us safe from our own egos. We ask these things in the light of the seen, the unseen, and the honesty of God. Amen. So, Azrael, would you like to begin with a message for us?
Yes. I know that there are many of you out there that cannot believe that you're listening to the words of an angel. But I can assure you that I am standing here behind Barry and Connie, and that he is truly speaking my words. Angels are always around. Angels are around to serve. They're around to help humans. We help animals, and we help any creatures that are God's children. Tonight, I want to thank you for allowing me to come through and speak. Angels are non-denominational. We are present in all religions, all faith, and all spiritual beliefs. That makes us kind of unique in that Jesus, when he walked the earth, founded Christianity. We assisted him just the same as we helped all of the other founders of the world's religions. We are truly messengers of the fact that there are many, many ways to heaven. There is no one single path, but there are many. We try to help you lead a good life that will assure you of a good reception when you return home to heaven. So with that in mind, I know that you have many questions, and I am here to answer them.
Okay, let's start out with, have angels ever lived an incarnate life?
No. Angels have never walked the earth. We are a different type of spirit energy. Angels have always served souls that returned to live lifetimes, whether on your planet or on others. So, we have never walked the earth as any life form. But we are energies, and we serve God as best we can.
Okay, what exactly is your role in heaven?
I assist souls that are ready to enter the heaven realms. While humans live their lives, there are other souls that interact with them and help give them guidance. Angels can work with spirit guides, and there are many ways that they can influence incarnate lives. I assist as the soul is ending its incarnate life. It is sometimes very difficult for a soul to adapt to the change, but we try to assist them to make it as easy as possible. I also assist those that are left behind and are grieving. So, yes, I am associated with all aspects of death, but it is definitely a very positive role. My presence is not to be feared, but acts as a forerunner of the soul entering heaven, where it finds its true home.
Okay, we have a very good question from one of our listeners. What is the difference between an angel and an archangel?
An archangel has served God in very, very special ways. And just as human souls attempt to raise themselves in the realms of heaven, so angels also try to become closer to God. Archangels have served God in many, many ways and through many millennia. And they have earned the right to be closer to God, and there will be many other angels that assist archangels.
Okay, and we also have another question. What is the guardian angel? Are they believed to have been physical beings at one point?
The term guardian angel is a very, very loose term. Sometimes angels watch over and help protect an incarnate life, but it is also possible that a family soul member can watch over and help protect. An event may take place that was the result of an action of a former incarnate soul, but was thought to be the action of a guardian angel. So there are many spirits and angels on the other side that try to help and protect those souls that are in an incarnate body.
Okay, I have actually experienced that. Okay, do you interact with God?
Of course. We are God's servants. We serve God in any way that He asks us to serve Him. He can send us back on special missions, or He can have us pay closer attention to certain individuals that He has sent back on special missions. An example of that is what the two of you are going through as you try to spread His words. Angels watch over the two of you very closely because you have more to do, and we will try to protect you so that you can fulfill the mission that you were sent back to perform. So the term guardian angel, as I said, can apply to many situations.
Okay, we appreciate that. Is there such a thing as an evil angel?
No, there's no such thing as an evil angel. All angels are God's servants, and no angel has ever performed evil or been influenced by evil energies.
Are there any fallen angels?
No. That is a misconception that was formulated by those that wrote the Gospels. They had no true way to understand the nature of evil energy and the positive energy of angels.
Okay, then our next question, I think I already knew the answer to. Was Satan ever an angel?
No. Satan was absolutely never an angel. He was never a fallen angel. Satan is just simply evil energy.
Okay. We have another question from our chat room. What is the Grim Reaper that so many people talk about? Is there such a thing?
No. There is no such thing as a Grim Reaper. You are sent back with a life plan, and that life plan includes a time that you will be called to come home to heaven. When that time comes, we will interact with you to make the return as comfortable as possible. But the Grim Reaper is simply the product of what novelists thought would be the form that would return people to heaven.
Okay, we have another question. What is your role in near-death experiences? Why do people have these experiences?
People have near-death experiences because they are in danger of passing from their incarnate life before their life plan stipulates that they should return home. In those instances, we may speak to them and tell them that it is not their time and they need to return. It may also be that a family member gives them the message. But if it is not their time, they must return to their incarnate form, and it is possible that they will be told that by either an angel or another soul on the other side.
Okay. And another question. Our listeners are really interested tonight. So will you be visiting with us and calm us before passing?
Yes, that is part of the role. Death is not something to be feared. Death is the beginning of your new life cycle. We will try to make sure that you understand that message and that you do not fear death. Sadly, there are many that do not believe and fear death and refuse to accept the presence of an energy of the supreme deity. In those instances, there is often very little we can do, and they will find that the experience was something they should not have feared. But we do try to calm individuals because many do not want to leave loved ones, and that's very understandable. They know that when they leave, they will be causing great grief for those that are left behind. We try to work with them as well, but often grief is inconsolable. So we try to make the entire experience of passing from the life plane as easy as possible.
Okay, we have another interesting question from our chat room. Our friend says, when my father was nearing the end of his life and not communicating anymore, I watched one night as he had a conversation with someone that I could not see. Was that Azrael?
Yes, Patty, that was me. I was trying to console your father and let him know that he was truly about to embark on a wonderful journey. I'm sorry for the grief when he passed, but I can assure you that his journey was a wonderful experience for him.
Thank you. Okay, is there anything that we should call on you in prayer for help in particular?
If you or a person close to you, family member or a friend, is approaching the end of their incarnate life, you can ask me to assist and to make the passing as easy as possible. When you pray to me, we hear you. Keep in mind that angels, one of their roles is to carry prayer. So, if you feel that you are in need, if you are in deep grief, call on me and I will come to you and I will attempt to make things as easy as possible.
Thank you for that. What other archangels do you interact with the most?
Archangels interact a great deal with each other. Sometimes our missions overlap. For instance, Michael is a protector. And there are times that his protections will no longer be sufficient, and the soul will need to pass from incarnate life. He will inform me that his role is ending, and it is time for me to take over. So, angels overlap greatly in their roles.
Okay. Let's see. I was just checking to see if I had any more questions in the chat room. I'd like to give them priority. What happens to the soul when it experiences the incarnate death?
When the soul passes from the body, it will enter the kingdom of heaven. There will be other souls or angels to help it with the passing. The spirit guides of the soul will also be present. What the soul sees will depend somewhat upon what it expects to experience. For instance, if it thinks that it will be approaching a light, there will be a light form so that it feels comfortable that its experience is the same as what was anticipated. As I said, you will have family members there to greet you. It might be that important people will be there. When souls that are very close to God pass, they will experience the presence of other Holy Spirits with whom they had helped to prepare their life plan. So there is not one rule that fits all. If the soul has led a very evil life, its experience on passing will be much different. It will be met with the spirit guides. It is possible that it will be separated from family members, and the soul will be sent directly to a lower level where it will have time to understand how it lived its life and to make decisions for the future.
Okay, back to the chat room. Do you assist souls in passing if they died of demonic possessions?
It is possible that a good soul can be possessed by demonic possessions, and we will help that soul to be delivered to heaven and for the soul to have a positive experience. And demonic energies are never allowed to return to heaven with the soul.
Okay. And yet another question from our chat room. Is pain required when passing? Some people become fearful if they feel that they're going to have great pain at the end of their life.
Pain can be something that needs to be experienced as part of the life plan. Once they pass, all pain is gone, and they enter a state of, shall we say, euphoria or happiness. Pain may be required in its life plan before the time of passing. Okay, let me take a little break here. Thank you all for all the great questions. Keep them coming. As soon as we do this little break, we will indeed be asking many more of them.
Don't go away. Channeling History will return right after these brief messages. You've no doubt heard of Tango and Cash, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Perhaps it takes two to tango. Well, now, on the first and third Thursdays of each month, there's a show called Tango and Friends at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Para X Radio Network with your host, Bruce Tango. And yes, there will be at least two to tango on each episode, sometimes even more. There's going to be lots of topics and lots of guests you'll all know and lots of surprises. Tango and Friends every first and third Thursday of the month at 8 p.m. right here on the Para X Radio Network.
I am Oz, the great and powerful. Who are you?
If you please, I'm Dorothy, the small and meek. I've come to ask you...
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come. Step forward, whippersnappers. Bring me the broomstick of a witch.
Martha's broom? But if we do that, we'll have to kill her to get it.
Bring me her broomstick, and I'll grant your request. Now go.
But what if she kills us first?
I said go!
What's that? What's that? It's Martha's castle guard. And look, there's her broom, right in front of the gate. Go get it. All right, I'll go in there, witch or no witch, guards or no guards. I'll tear them apart.
Oh, no, you won't. Don't think of leaving. My little party's just beginning. I always stir my cauldron Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Para X Radio Network. Now back off from that broom or I'll turn you into Toto's chew toy.
I do believe in witches. I do.
Have you ever wondered what Jesus and his followers would say if you could receive their messages today? In his new book, Spirits Speak, Channeling Jesus and the Holy Spirits, channeler and author Barry Strohm answers those questions for you. Using his gift of spirit communication, he brings you messages from such Holy Spirits as Moses, John the Baptist, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Jesus, and even Mother Teresa and the Reverend Billy Graham. They discuss topics that are important for contemporary life in these troubled times. Spirits Speak, Channeling Jesus and the Holy Spirits is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other booksellers. Signed copies are available on the author's website, spiritspredict.com. After reading this book, you will never again say, "What would Jesus say or do?"
Para X Radio.
Welcome back to Channeling History. Now, here are your hosts, Barry and Connie Strohm.
Okay, welcome back. This has been a very interesting evening so far. Many questions, and we thank you for them. So, Connie, here we go.
Okay. Our next guest said, I know this is a hard question to ask you, Azrael. What about suicides? Do you assist as well?
When people commit suicide, they are often very troubled and are not making sound decisions. We make a special effort to assist those that have committed suicide because we want them to understand that heaven truly is a wonderful place. They also need to understand that they have cut their life plan short, and their guides will assist them in formulating a new life plan, and when they return, they will have to learn the lessons that they did not learn because they shortened that life plan. But yes, we try to do our best for those who commit suicide because we understand that they have emotional problems, and sometimes those type of problems will follow through their souls as they return.
Okay, our next question is very interesting. How does someone who is going to the lowest level of heaven cross over, and are they assisted by angels?
They will be met by their guides. They will be told what they've done wrong and why they are being taken to the level to which they will have to go, and their guides will explain to them what they need to do in order to get out of that level. There may be an angel present, but basically the role of directing the soul is up to the spirit guides.
Okay, and the questions keep on pouring in. Souls that experience a quick death and don't know they died, are they left in our level, or do you assist them?
No. Souls that experience a quick and unexpected life need more help than the souls that are preparing for death through sickness. So we are there to help them immediately. They will be shocked to find that they are suddenly on the other side. But in most instances, they will learn that this was their time to pass. But we make a special effort to assist those that have sudden death.
Thank you. Our next question. Have you ever connected with someone when in an astral plane?
That is not something that I would usually do, but it is possible that other angels can associate with souls that have managed to obtain that state of high vibration, or as you refer to as astral plane.
Okay. Can the soul make the decision to not leave the earth plane?
Yes. It is possible that a soul can refuse to advance and to move into the realms. That is why certain souls remain earthbound. Some are very happy where they are and are afraid to move forward, even though we try to tell them that they can do it. And some fear retribution and do not want to face judgment. But it is possible for souls to remain in the present in the life plane, but in an energy form.
What do you do to help people transform from incarnate life to a spiritual life?
We try to explain to them that they are entering a far better place than where their soul was. We tell them that they will be able to do and they will be able to do and live spiritually with those that have passed, and that they will be suffering, their pain will end, and that they are in a dimension much closer to God.
Okay, we have some more questions from our listeners. Do angels help when our pets pass?
It is possible. Pet souls are very, very special in the eyes of God. When a pet passes, it will generally be greeted with members of your soul family as well that have known them in their lives. So, yes, we also help pets to pass, but not to the extent that we do with human souls.
Okay. Our next question is it you that will help prevent someone from ending their life so a life plan is not disrupted?
I might get involved with that, but it is generally, I generally become involved after the decision has been made that the soul is will pass into heaven. There are other angels available that will help try to guide the soul away from a suicide or from doing things other than what are on its life plan. These spirit guides will also assist in that. So it is not generally part of my role, but there are times that I may be asked to intercede and help.
Okay. Does everyone that pass from an incarnate life see you?
No. You might see some of my assistants. I try. I am a universal energy form, so I'm in many, many places at the same time. So many will see me. Many will have other angels help assist them.
Okay. Does the soul that is passing ever see you before the soul passes from the body?
Yes. It may be very possible that a soul, a human body, is going through a long period of sickness and possibly may be in coma, approaching the end of the life cycle. There are times that the soul, as it approaches the end of a life cycle, can leave the body and help prepare for the journey that is ahead. It is very possible that when that soul is out of body, that I might see and interact with it in order to help it know what is coming in the future.
Okay. Is there any reason for a person to fear incarnate death?
No. Incarnate death is the beginning of the cycle of life. Death comes at the end of a life plan. There is always a new life plan for the soul. It is only, a person would only fear an incarnate death if it did not believe in an afterlife. That is why it is so important that we all try to communicate and let individuals understand that there truly is a heaven around you, there is truly a God, and there is truly an afterlife. And as all souls pass from incarnate life, they will enter a state of beginning of a new life cycle.
Okay, what would you tell caregivers to tell individuals that are approaching death?
You must tell them that they're going to a far better place. You must assure them that heaven is truly for real, that it exists around them, that they will be reunited with their departed loved ones, and that the pain of life as they know it will end. Caregivers need to be very, very positive. There are many that fear death, and they must assure those people that it is not to be feared, but it is something that will lead them to a wonderful soul experience, and that death is truly the beginning.
Yeah. When you appear, what shape do you assume?
I can assume many forms. I know that because I'm thought of as the angel of death, that I am often given black forms or scary forms or forms that are the product of the imagination. I will appear as a loving and caring form. It may be, I may assume different forms. I may be what you would consider a normal angel. I may be white. I may have large wings. I may have no wings. I may take a human form that you would be accustomed to seeing and trusting. I try to take the form that will be the best aid for the soul that is entering heaven.
Okay. All the images that we've found portray you with a very dark appearance. What do you think about how they're portraying you?
I wish they would portray me as a more positive form. People associate death with darkness. I want you to associate death with light, because death is, as I just said, the beginning. There's nothing dark about death. The only darkness is the grief that is left behind for others. I think I would be much more happy if, when humans portray me, they would give me a more positive appearance.
Yeah. Okay, you said that sometimes other angels help when at death. What determines if you are present at a soul's death?
That is a difficult question to answer. If it's an evil soul, I will not be there. If it is a soul that has lived a wonderful and positive life and has followed God's commands, in all probability, I will help with the passing. If it is a good soul that is having a problem with passing, I will try to be there to assist. But you can be reassured that there will be a spiritual presence to help all souls who pass.
Okay. How do you help those who are left behind and grieving?
I try to bring them the message that the soul of their loved one is in a much better place, is not suffering pain, and is reunited with those that have departed before him. If the person has led an evil life, then we will let other spirits explain to him how he strayed from his life plan, the evil that he caused, and what he will need to make up to those he had hurt.
Okay. Should those that are left behind pray to you for comfort?
They can. We will try to bring them a message of comfort. The most important thing for a person that is grieving is to understand the concept of where the soul has gone. If an individual understands that the soul energy of the departed one can remain close, you just cannot see them or hold them. And that soul still loves them as much as it did in life. The greatest thing to aid grief is to truly understand what has taken place for the transformation of the soul.
Okay, we have another question. It says, do you let those grieving... Whoa, just lost my chat room. Okay. People that are grieving, do you let them know that the souls that have left haven't truly left them and that they can visit them?
That is a message that we try to deliver. The spirit guides of the grieving soul will also try to deliver such a message. Sadly, it is very difficult to overcome grief. And we understand that. And actually, grief is part of the learning process that a soul has to undergo.
Yeah. Actually, Barry's dad leaves pennies for us. So when I see a penny in a strange place, I always say, "Hi, Russ." Okay, let's get back to our questions. Could you explain the realms of heaven?
Heaven has 7 realms and a lower level. as the soul lives lives and serves God, it will be able to advance in the realms of heaven. The lower realms do not have all the benefits of the upper realms. So the human souls, when they are over here, will have the ability to go to lower realms, but they may not go to the higher realms. So as the soul is here, it will understand the advantages that the upper realms have, and hopefully do life plans that will help them to advance.
Okay, when they pass over, do you help with the life review process?
I don't usually get involved with the life review process. I help the past and turn them over to their guides, who will lead them through the life review.
Okay. Can you explain how that takes place?
Their guides will allow the soul to view events where it either helped or harmed others. The guides will point out how they should have responded to situations, and they will show what lessons should have been learned. The guides will do a very thorough review process, and the events of that life will be entered into the individual's book of life, so that a total record of each lifetime and lessons learned remains.
Okay. Is there such a thing as the Akashic records?
The Akashic records could be referred to as the individual books of life. There are records of every life. Each soul is responsible for controlling their books of life and maintaining the direction of lessons learned and lessons failed.
Okay. What happens to souls that do not accomplish what was laid out in their life plan?
If they attempted to learn the lessons, then they will probably remain in the levels that they were when they left. If they hurt others, they can be demoted in levels. And if they followed their life plan and listened to the words of God and helped others, they will be able to advance and move into higher realms.
Okay. Do you help humans understand the difference between truth and illusion?
I try. By the time that I meet them, most of their life decisions have been made. So there's usually very little I can do. But often souls believed that they have led wonderful lives when in fact they have hurt others. For instance, individuals may have acquired great wealth but have not used that wealth to hurt others. That is a lesson that will lead them to being demoted in the realms of heaven.
Okay, who makes the decision to send the evil soul to the lowest level?
That can be made basically by God. If an individual has led a truly bad life, he will instruct the guides that the soul needs to be sent to lower levels or demoted, and he will give the command on what that soul needs to do to advance in its next lifetime.
Okay, what happens when a non-believer passes from an incarnate life?
A non-believer is usually very shocked when he enters into heaven. We try to explain to him what is taking place. We try to allow his family to tell him what is taking place, and we try to make it understandable for what he is going to do. And we will also make it very clear that his life as a non-believer will not advance him in the realms. Yeah. Okay. We are approaching the end of our show. I would like to thank you all in this chat room for participating tonight. I'd especially like to thank Azrael for all his wonderful answers and for the show tonight. You can also submit questions or recommendations for future shows in advance through our emails, channelinghistoryonparax@gmail.com. My new book, Spirit Speaks, Channeling Jesus and the Holy Spirit, is now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and where books are sold. It is also available on Kindle for immediate download, and we have tried to bring it out at a very reasonable price so that everyone can enjoy it. Signed copies are only available on my website, which is spiritspredict.com, or wordsofgodthenandnow.com. I would give you a reminder that Christmas season is a great time to give my books as presents. So I would like to thank all of you that listen to the show, especially those that have joined in the chat room and gave us so many wonderful questions. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and thank you for listening. Please join us Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Para X Radio Network, when we will return with another channeling session that we hope will be very interesting for you. So good night, and we will see you next week.
Good night, all. God bless you all.
Thanks for listening to Channeling History. Tune in again next week for another electrifying episode, as we never know who will make an appearance or who will come through the portal. Any rebroadcast or other use of this program without explicit permission is strictly prohibited. Copyright 2020. Our Story Begins by Kevin MacLeod, licensed through Incompetech.com.